Hello, my name's Sam Clarke. I'm a doctoral student at the University of Oxford, and I want to use this short video to introduce my paper, Goal Ascription for the Irrational, which is being discussed as part of this year's Minds Online conference. Now, just before I get into the details of the paper itself, I want to say a big thank you to everyone that's helped organise the conference. So, in particular, John Schwenkler, Nick Bird, and Cameron Buckner, who have put together the programme. And I want to say a big thank you to my commentators, Kristen Andrews, Julia Schmorchkova, and Mitchell Hirschbach. These guys have all read through my paper and are no doubt going to offer me very, very useful comments and criticisms that I'm going to have to take on board when I'm redrafting the paper in the future. So this is really, really useful for me. So thanks to those guys. Okay, so the paper itself. As the title might suggest, it's about goal ascriptions, by which I mean our everyday capacity to identify the outcomes to which other people's actions are directed. Now, note that when I say this, I'm talking about, or I'm using the word goal in a very specific way. Sometimes when we talk about goals, we mean things like people's desires or intentions. So we might say something like, Frank Underwood's goal is to become President of the United States. And by this we might mean something like Frank Underwood wants to become President of the United States or intends to become President of the United States. This isn't the way that I'm using the word in this paper. When I talk about a goal, I'm talking about an outcome out there in the world to which an action is directed, not some inner mental state like a desire or an intention. Now, there are loads and loads of reasons why we should care about goal ascription, why this should be an interesting topic for a philosopher or psychologist or cognitive scientist interested in social cognition. For a start, infants seem to ascribe goals to other people's actions before they understand the mental states of others. So, it's very plausible to think that goal ascriptions play an important role, at least in young infants' social interactions. In fact, it's been suggested that their capacity to make these goal ascriptions bootstraps the subsequent development of a full-blown theory of mind. And so for these kinds of reasons, I think it's really, really important that we do our best to try and understand the cognitive processes that are involved. Now, to this end, I try and use my paper to advance 3 claims concerning these cognitive processes. So, in the first part of the paper, where I make the first of these claims, I consider various leading theories of goal ascription that have already been developed. And what I suggest, or what I claim, is that many of these theories seem to hold, or seem committed to holding, that all goal ascriptions involve some kind of rational abductive inference, some kind of inference to the best explanation. Now, in the second part of the paper, where I make my second claim, I suggest that there is reason to question this commitment. Some goal ascriptions seem to be made by fast, inaccessible, and largely informationally encapsulated cognitive processes. And this suggests that they're performed by input processes or input systems akin to those involved in speech and sensory perception, rather than the central systems that rational abduction paradigmatically involves. And in the third part of the paper, I effectively just argue that there's independent reason to take this suggestion seriously. There's converging evidence from philosophy or philosophical considerations, psychology, and neuroscience that this suggestion's on the right track. So even if you don't buy any of the evidence from Section 2, you should still take very seriously the idea that there are input systems akin to those involved in speech perception that identify the outcomes to which other people's actions are directed. Now, if that sounds at all interesting to you, I hope that you'll consider reading the paper and perhaps even leaving me some comments. Like I said before, the paper is still a work in progress. I'm going to be redrafting it at least a few more times before it's anything close to finished. So all these comments are going to be really, really useful to me. So thanks very much.